This is Twit.
Joining us right now is our own Ann Pruitt from the Consumer Electronics Show.
What? Live from CES, maybe?
Ant, are you there?
I am.
Hey, what's happening, man?
Ant Pruitt, look at that smile.
How you gentlemen doing?
Unbelievable.
Doing awesome. It's great to see you. It's nice to see that you are still well. At least I think you're doing well. You haven't got the con flu yet, right?
No, but I think I did meet patient 0 the first night here.
I saw that, yeah. She said, you don't want to touch me. I've got everything. I'm sick.
Yeah, and I totally jumped out of the frame.
Yeah, you're like, that's no way to start the Consumer Electronics Show coverage and everything. You've been super busy while you've been there. And so thank you for finding 15 minutes to spend with us to talk about it a little bit. You've been producing a lot of videos with Leo. I think they're going up individually on our YouTube channel at Twit, and then kind of packaged together on the site as well. I don't know. I want to leave this kind of open to you. You are the one that's on the floor there at the Consumer Electronics Show. You've seen probably endless number of things. What are some of the things that really have stood out for you personally that you've really enjoyed?
It's been a couple things from a product standpoint, but there's also some things socially that have stood out to me. First off, on the photographer side, of course, I'm a Canon fan. That's no secret. Canon's 1DX Mark III professional camera was announced, and I got to get some hand time with that. We have a segment of that on our Twit playlist, CES playlist. That's twit.to/CES. It'll take you straight to our YouTube playlist. But I was able to play around with that camera. It's a tank. Get about 15 frames per second shooting stills, 4K up to 60 frames per second for video, weatherproofing and dust proofing. It is a pros camera. They built it to be better than the last model, of course. The big feature on it that I found interesting was the autofocus, because a lot of times you can have autofocus autofocus marks on your sensor, but it's not particularly spread all the way across the camera sensor. So you're going to have some soft edges in a lot of your older cameras. But now Sony has been innovating that by expanding it, and now Canon has done the same thing by expanding that range of the autofocus sensitivity and giving you a lot better low light performance, as well as crispy images, even at 20 megapixels.
Ooh, crispy. Tell us about there was a camera that they said you could use for, I can't think of what it's called. Streaming is the
Live
word.
streaming?
Yeah.
Yep.
What is this streaming camera?
That is the M200. It's using an APS-C sensor known as a crop sensor, so it's going to be a lot smaller. If you're familiar with the M line from Canon, it was their M50. It was really popular with vloggers because it may have been about the size of my Pixel 4 XL. So it's lightweight, but it took really nice photographs and it took really nice video. So now the M200 has the capability to continue to do that, but there's an HDMI out feature on it where you can hook it up to your computer or laptop or whatever. And instead of using those nice high quality webcams that you have, just plug up this M200 for about, I believe it's $4.99, and you're going to get a much better image quality. The gamers and the folks using Twitch, they're going to love it. I was able to see that. They had a nice booth set up to show that off. And the side-by-side version of that versus like a Logitech C922, which is a really nice webcam, it blew it out the water.
Yeah, I'm seeing $4.99 on the Canon store. Interesting. So, yeah, I've always wondered, if you have to go full DSLR to get really crispy stuff, if there's something in between, and this mirrorless camera seems to be in that space.
Crispy. I like that we're calling
yeah,
crispy.
We keep saying crispy. Thank you for introducing that. Krispy Kreme. What are some robots are big, and I saw you hanging out with a robot, finding your new robot pal. What are some of the robots you've seen at CES so far?
The funniest one I saw was called, I think it was Liku, Liku. And it almost looked like a little child.
Yes, that's the one you were holding. So
and I'm
cute.
holding it, and the thing is, it's a robot, but it didn't feel terribly like a robot. They built it with nice curves in the design, So the people that were interested in that kind of thing, I'm clearly not their demographic. But I'm holding it, and it actually felt natural. And the little robotic head would turn and look at you because it has a sensor on the middle of its forehead, and it talked back to us and answered commands. All of it's using AI. It even did a little dance for us. It was. I will say it was cute because I know that's what Mr. Sargent wants to hear.
Yes, it is what I want to hear. It is cute. Look at it. Oh,
It's like the next generation twerking bear. Is this
Oh
what
my God,
This is?
That's exactly what that was.
Twerking Bear 6.0 right there.
Just sort of walking through the hall, and we walked around the little robot section, and that got our attention, and it just had to stop and do a little segment.
All right. Well, we learned some lessons from our dear fallen friend, the Jibo.
Oh, there it is.
I was like, Jibo's disappeared. So, don't get too attached to that robot. Because you just never know when suddenly they're going to turn off the server and
Well, I mean, you have
goes for a
that.
long sleep.
You have that, plus you have the idea of some of these things may not even make it to the U.S. for different trade reasons and stuff. So we never know.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Let's see here. You put some other stuff in the doc here. Sony Virtual Set. Yeah.
Ooh, my goodness.
What's this all about?
By far my favorite piece of tech shown off here. This is from a company called Neuralize that Sony acquired last year. And they got pretty popular from being on that show Shark Tank. And what they do is they create a virtual set. And all it is this massive crystal display in the background. And it has the capability of connecting to your camera with all of these different sensors. So as your camera moves around objects within these so-called virtual set, as you see on the screen there, they're filming the Ghostbusters car, the camera perspective changes and all of the depth of field. It's so beautiful. It's expensive, but in the long run, this would save TV companies and movie sets a lot of money because they don't have to build a set, because you can just put it all into this virtual screen. And if you have like certain special effects like particles and things that you need to fly around in the image, you can put that into that virtual set and then just mount your camera where you need to mount it. And if you move around, all of the perspective is going to change. The lighting and the depth of field. At first I was like, why are we stopping here? But when he told me a little bit more about it and I looked at it a little closer, it really got my attention. And hands down, that was my favorite piece of tech there.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty impressive. Just the size of that display. I will admit, the first time I watched the video, I was like, well, this isn't a TV. This is a guy on a track. But then I looked in the background. I was like, oh.
Right. That's exactly what happened with me, you know. And the attendee that was standing there, bless his heart, I know he was like, man, I need to shut this dude down because he's just poo-pooing all over our product. But he set me straight. He set me straight. He's like, look, yeah, this is not what you think it is. This is a lot more, and it's going to save a lot of money, because you have to consider these production companies. They have to build these sets, so much faster and in a lot more in advance, and things change very quickly, and you're spending all of the labor costs, you're spending all of the money on the actual pieces for the set, the location, and all of that. That can add up. So get this and have it virtually done, and you're just doing it with some AI and doing it with some creative eye at the keyboard instead. It's saving a lot of money in the long run.
I saw you and Leo stopped by another Better booth while you were there.
Yes, we did. And I did not give them a hard time.
Good. Good. I'm glad. For folks who are wondering what the heck Better is, it's that product that I mentioned in my top 3 for the year that we did earlier, last year. And Leo and Ant stopped by that booth to talk about, that technology. So that was exciting to see them at CES as well, helping out folks with sleep conditions.
Yep. You put that tracker right on your forehead with some medical grade adhesives, and it's going to give you applicable data to help you sleep better, and not necessarily just sleep tracking stuff,
Now, did you get to drive around in the Segway chair, the Dr. Eggman chair?
Mr. Laporte tried to, but they did not allow us to move it. The funny thing is, you sit down in that chair and they make you put a helmet on.
What in the
Period.
world?
I mean, you're not going anywhere, but they make you put a helmet on. So he sat down and everything felt fine to him, and he's all pumped up about it because you know he owns Segway products already,
Yep.
and this is just the level up for him, and he's looking forward to trying to get his hands on one of those and have it, sort of running around the streets of Petaluma here soon.
Yeah, because why didn't they let you? Does it not work yet?
I don't know,
They didn't
but I
say
know
why.
they had a waiver form right there, and they handed you a helmet. And you see, Mr. Dickie D, they even tell you to fasten the helmet.
Oh, brother. You're not going anywhere, but they want
You're
you to.
not going anywhere, but you need to fasten that helmet, and you need to put it on before you even think about sitting in this. So
See,
they're protecting
the
themselves.
thing about CES that I've always run into, the issue there is the communicable exchange of all sorts of organisms. And so I'm
Also known as germs.
Yeah,
Wait a
also
minute.
known as germs, but also organisms like lice, which don't quite count as germs, but could certainly be in those helmets that they're all shuffling around. And it's also why, just pro tip, don't do any of the, well, you can, but take some like alcohol wipes with you. The virtual reality goggles, if they're not cleaning those off, that's very bad because there is a brain-eating amoeba whose favorite entry point into the brain is through your eye. So yeah, just make sure you keep clean, keep protected. It's
Totally
true.
with you on that. I'm totally with you on that. I
Gross.
don't test any of those things.
Yeah, no thank you. No thank you. What do you got?
Neofect Smart Glove. What is this all about?
This one is very near and dear to my heart, as well as a lot of the folks in our Twit community. That's twit.community in your browser. They wanted to know a little bit more about technology for the folks with medical disabilities and give them something to help with accessibility. And NeoFect offers therapy for stroke victims, and it sort of gamifies their physical therapy by giving them these different gloves or different track pads and stability mats. And it hooks into a little app. So instead of just going through therapy methodically and just sort of, all right, can I get this over with? They have a video game that lets you sort of gamify it, and you can share it with other people. And the big thing about it is you don't necessarily have to have this at a medical facility where you're spending a lot of money for co-pays just to have an office visit. If you can afford it, you can put it in your home and handle your treatment and manage it with your medical practitioner or what have you, and sort of keep you on track with your therapy, as well as just sort of gamify it and not really bring it down and keep you motivated to get better.
Yeah. Keep improving, keep moving forward. So, okay, all things considered, you got to be coming back soon, right? Is today your last day, and then that's it? I think today's the last day of CES.
This is the last day. I'm going to spend this day doing a little bit of research for some other things that I'd like to work on there at twit.tv. But I won't leave until the weekend. I'll leave here Saturday. So I'm going to do some research today and tomorrow and just check out some other stuff that's sort of lingering around here on the show floor. I wanted to mention one more thing that I think is important here. With the keynote that started out CES, there was a lot of controversy around the Trump lady being on stage and equality and womanizing and all of that nasty, messy stuff. And CES has a reputation with booth babes and things of that nature. And a lot of that has changed over the years. But what I noticed this time, and what I think is a good move in society, if you will, is I notice a lot more women in prominent position at these booths. And I notice a lot more people that look like me, people of color, in these booths doing demonstrations and actually knowing the product and not just reading the script.
Awesome.
and actually having prominent positions. They are directors of this and chiefs of that. And it was really nice to see that. Just things are sort of, the tide is changing, if you will. And it was just heartwarming to see that people are getting these opportunities, because Silicon Valley has a seriously crappy reputation about equality, and it's nice to see that some people out there trying to do this and make it a little bit more equal for everybody.